You are now tuned in to DameSmiff.
Welcome to Musician Talks with DameSmiff. This is episode, I believe, 23. And today I want to talk to you guys about creative block or writer's block in a sense and how it affects you as an artist and what I've done to overcome that and some of the pitfalls you may run into when dealing with it. But before I get into that, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And share this video with anybody who wants to join the conversation about the music industry, being creative, wanting to learn how to be creative, or just learn what it's like to be a creative. And like I said, today we're going to talk about having writer's block, or I like to call it creator's block, where you're just essentially not finding inspiration to get the results that you would like to have within your creations. So, what does it look like? As a musician, if you're a writer, a songwriter, what it essentially looks like is a lot of your ideas become repetitive, redundant, or perhaps they're not sprinkled with variety, if that makes sense. Like if you find yourself making the same kind of song, the same kind of sound, and things like that, you can almost guarantee that you've run into a wall in your inspiration. Um, Now, typically, this should only really last about a few days, maybe a little more than a week if it's that bad. But if you find yourself in a rut more than, I would say, like a month or two, then you might have to deal with something outside of creativity. You might have blocks in other pathways in your, energies or whatever you're focusing on in your life at that time. But typically, this should only really last like a few days, and something should inspire you eventually. But for me, the way I've dealt with it is to honestly stop, stop trying to create, stop trying to get over creative or writer's block, because essentially, what I've learned over the years is you create music out of your experiences or other people's experiences and things like that. So for me, whenever I couldn't figure out what to write or how to complete a project or something like that, I would stop and then kind of go live life and see what's out there. And then it may take me a lot longer than, like I said, like a few days or even weeks like that to find those experiences, which doesn't necessarily mean I have writer's block that for that long. It just means that for what I'm looking for, I had to wait that long. Now, to pull it away from myself, essentially, when you stop making music and decide, I'm going to go experience life for a little bit, that may be going to visit family or maybe getting more active in the community or just taking time for yourself to learn more uh, things, activities, skills, and talents and things like that about yourself. And those things should help you develop more soft skills to create better and to create more intuitively. But in the same space, they should also expose you to new things and new people, new experiences, new conversations. So the idea of writer's block is to break up the monotony that you have as an artist. So when I say stop, meaning stop playing the same music, stop trying to make the same music, let go of thinking you have to create the perfect song and allow new and uncomfortable experiences. I'm sorry, new and uncomfortable experiences that you may not necessarily choose to put yourself into, kind of put its effect upon you as an artist. So allow outside things that usually you wouldn't place yourself into willfully, allow those things to affect you so you can reflect and see, well, maybe I didn't enjoy my experience with learning how to salsa dance. Maybe skydiving was a little too extreme. Maybe I should have just chilled out with that. Or maybe just change your idea on what to eat. Maybe today, instead of eating what you normally eat, try something new. Try something from a different nationality. Try something from a different culture, and just see what you think of that and how you reflect. And then that kind of introspective thought should allow you to think differently about how you approach your creativity. And the way you bridge the gap between your life experience and your music should already be formulaic for you as an artist, but I can give you an example of how you can do that. So if you've had a bad experience, or if you know someone who's had a bad experience, you can kind of tie that into your music through the emotions of music and sometimes the moods and tonalities of music. So for you as an individual artist, most of your catalog may be in a similar tonality if you've been creating the same formulaic way for most of your career. To put it in layman's terms, if you've been playing gospel since you were 11 years old and you're now 27 or something like that, it may be time to listen and expose yourself to new sounds and new genres. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to go against what you believe in, but it does mean that you have to step into situations that you initially will not choose to be in, because this will put you in a position of vulnerability, and it puts you in a position of adaptation. And I talk about this often as an artist, where you want to be able to adapt to various uh, events, stimuli, and current events and things like that, because this will allow you to perform in these various situations. And one of those situations is writer's block. So when you find yourself in writer's block, it's best to stop what you're doing, assess and find out if you do, legitimately have writer's block, or are you just suffering from laziness. You got to know the difference. But if you are genuinely suffering from writer's block, stop what you're doing, take note of what you're doing to say, okay, I'm doing the same song, or I'm doing the same dance, or the same tone. I keep coming up with the same melody, same lyrics, or whatever it is. And once you figure that out, now you have to let go of all of that and essentially experience brand new melodies and brand new cultures of sound and spaces and things like that. And honestly, it could be something as easy as just going through the rabbit hole of a DSP or a streaming site or YouTube or something like that, and just typing new music of the year, or maybe new music of a whole nother country you've never been in, and just take a time to just listen, give yourself time to absorb what you're hearing and seeing, because you might run into music videos or whatever, and allow yourself to be open to these new experiences, and allow these new experiences to not dictate what you are as an artist, but to dictate your perspective. Now, what that means when I say that is, you may see something you never knew before, or learn something you never knew before, or you may see something that you don't necessarily agree with. Take that energy of, man, I really don't like this kind of music, or this kind of sound, or this kind of imagery and things like that, and take that energy and turn it into something positive through your music by allowing the tonality that you feel about those things, or that you've learned about these things, and allow it to come through the music. If you find something that you do agree with, you may have a different tonality, a different energy about the music that you create, and there's your opportunity to create. Therefore, you've broken writer's block. So that's all I have for you today. This one's pretty simple. It's just a matter of focusing on experiencing new things, changing your mentality, and breaking up the monotony that you have when you are creating, because for a lot of us, this is a job, and for a lot of us, this is a living. So just to understand that you as a human first has to be taken care of before we think about artistry, and writer's block is part of the human aspect of all of us as artists. And that's it for today. This is episode 23, I believe, of Musician Talks. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll be here every single day except for Wednesdays at 9 a.m. between 11 a.m. for uploads on YouTube. Share this everywhere. And I'm DameSmiff, and that's it.